75% top companies in Jakarta last year, they got a survey, very difficult to get a local skilled workers. So when you go to Jakarta during lunchtime, in the main street of Sudirman, you see a lot of Indians, you see a lot of Chinese, a lot of Singapore, whatever. Because the company, very difficult to find a local skilled workers. Company doesn't want to grow. Money is it. 80% of the workers, 21 million Indonesians now work as a freelancer. And now the youth getting more and more like working as a freelancer. They got freedoms, they got money. YouTubers, take for example. So this kind of a disruption, crisis, have to be. The second thing, this is very, very important. If you look the data on the European OECD, on the PISA score, there is no change in 10 years. Look at this. 2006 until 2015. This is 2006, a lot of technology, the Apple, the Twitters, so on and so forth. But looks on the score of PISA, increase? No. Then more advanced technology in the European countries, America, British, France, is the score on the PISA increase? Nope. How can students living in a modern world, equipped with more modern, sophisticated equipment, but not in the score of the education? Look at this, getting down. It's scary. Why? Why? This is not Indonesia, this is OECD, the top world countries. But there is two things, two countries that is different. See, one is Portugal. Look at this, the Portugal, the score of PISA increased. This is the average of OECD country, and this is Portugal. The second, Singapore. It got increased, the PISA. English, mathematics, science. Indonesia, flat, getting down. Question is, what is the recipe behind the increase of these two countries? We need to think about it. This is the recipe. The two countries have a policy on the education sectors. On the student inclusions, more and more Singaporean students and Portuguese students go to the higher order thinking skill, switching from the lower higher order to the higher education. The curriculum, instruction and assessment, they change from routine cognitive skills into the complex way of the thinking. Life is not linear. So we need to teach our children as early as possible to have a multi-skill level. Complex ways of doing, collective capacity, teachers' educations, standardizations and compliance. They change to the high-level professional knowledge workers. Teacher education, stylistic, hierarchical, this is what we do in Indonesia mostly, to the flat collegial. It's not up and down, but flat collegial. Accountability primary to the authorities and the shift to the primary to the peer and stakeholders. So I am professors, it's not the government who gave me the professors, but the peers and the stakeholders who know exactly my quality, my service to the students. It's not the top government. You don't know anything about that. Those are, you need to think out of the box on this. This is Indonesia. Huge country, disparities is very high. Look at this. From Papua, this is rata-rata UNBK, national examinations last year. It's very low, consistently low. Jakarta is high. This is consistent from year to year to year. Istiqomah. Yeah. This is learning crisis for us. How can we improve? The other things, this is top skill, agenda, that we need to be equipped for every single student in Indonesia. Critical thinking, complex problem solving, creativity, so on and so forth. But one thing that I would like to share with you in this one. Now, the Z generation doesn't care about money. They care about happiness, well-being. It's much more important. About 5 months ago in Japan, Tokyo, in the Yutaka country, Asahi Shimbun had a headline, "When the money is not everything." The Japanese company got headaches because the youth workers are jumped from one company to another company. They don't consistent working, in one company. Why? Because they don't like. I don't like, I won't. They jump to other company. Even the company raise the salary, they don't want it. Because they say, my hobby is my job. Those are changing. Why in the future of well-being is not about money. Moreover, the GDP, happiness, wants to be the matrix of the future. Question is there we address by our education system to make every single student happy? No. If you sing national anthems on the stanza second, marilah kita mendoa Indonesia bahagia. So the happiness is in the top level of the objective of human being. As education goes to there, there's curriculum to be happiness. Nope. So, second question, how does the futures of the educations we want? I want to give you the philosophy before we go to the technical things. Fulfilling well-being of all. If you look, I think everybody remember about Maslow theory on the human need of well-being. The very basic things is physiological. Water, food, shelter, clothes, and so on and so forth. Then safety and security. Employment, health, so on and so forth. And then goes to the belonging, love, family, sense of connections. Then self-esteem, respect, achievement, recognition. And the top of the human need of well-being is self-actualization. This is the creativity is in there. Everybody agree? Now, people talking about Industry 4.0. This one. Industry 1.0. It's marked by inventions of steam engine in 1700, right? What is the steam engine for? To increase the productions of agriculture in United States. What for? To satisfy the physiological. Makes sense, right? 100 years later, 1800, people find what? Electricity. Then industrial revolution on seconds. Car, mobile, so on and so forth. It's safety to the weather. And World War I, World War II. It's a safety. Industrial here. And then love and well-being. 1969, when I was 9 years old, people found what? Computers on the third industrial revolution. What is the computer for? To satisfy love and belonging. Want to connect people. Makes sense, right? Now, we are entering the fourth industrial revolutions. Cyber-physical system. For what? To satisfy the esteem and self-actualizations. That's why this morning everybody take picture and share their family. This is me in area Gajayana. It's self-actualization. Exactly. This is the technology and the human needs. So technology as tools to fulfill achieving the human need. Sorry. Oops. Yeah. Now where is the education? This one. Remember, Education has 4 functions: economic, cultures, social, and personal. But today we have a crisis. Every single activity of the education is to develop a human being as an economic creatures, makhluk ekonomi. For what? To fulfill the physiological. Work and work and work and work like machine. To eat, to drink, to satisfy in the house, something like that. It's just that one. Education forgot to develop human being as a culture's human being. Know exactly the cultures from the parents, from the ancestor, and respecting cultures to others. For what? To avoid the safety, war, clash of the civilizations. It looks connecting, right? And the third one, the functions of education is to make somebody become the social human being. For what? Love and belonging on this one. And finally, the top level of the education is to make somebody know exactly who I am. Who am I? Personal. Look at this, on this one. Esteem, self-actualization 4.0. So, there is horizontal connections between technology, human need and well-being, and purposes of education sectors. Now we are talking about the innovations of the learning. To satisfy in what level? Personal, social, cultural, economic? I don't know. We need to think ourselves. So, in this time, I would like to share the leapfrog pathway. Changing slowly, incremental is not enough for Indonesia and around the world. We need to jump, to leapfrog, to change our education system to overcome the crisis. Learning, we have to leapfrog from the remembering and understanding into the evaluation and creating. Teachings, lectures based into playfulness-based learning. It is some transitions here. Progressions, predetermined, individual-based. Personalized learning. It's not one-size-fits-all examinations. Standardized tests, forget it. Verifications, education-led, industry-led. You know exactly the requirement is industry. People, licensed teachers, then become everyone. I tell you the truth. Now the role of the teachers now is dangerous. Very dangerous. Otherwise, not the robot will replace you, but your colleague who understand the technology will replace you. Teacher cannot be replaced by the robot, but poor teacher will be replaced by smart teachers. It's not the robot. Again, everyone become teachers. Students learn not only in school, but also in the zoo, in the market, in everything, everyone. Place in school in diversity of contexts. Data for compliance and data for transferring learning experiments. And then finally, technology from substitution. I will talk about the substitution, it's dangerous. Become modifications and redefinitions. Now we are talking about the creativities. We need to change our daily learning activities from this one lower order thinking into the higher order thinking. It looks like this. Less machine and more human work. Remember, the higher the level of human needs, it requires more human works, not the machine works. Industrial revolution is primarily humanize the human being. The job that is not human, clerical job that can do by animals will be replaced by the robot. We need to put a human beings above the technology itself. Don't be vice versa. Don't flip it. Yeah. How can we develop creative learning in our daily activities in our school and our university. I think 4 cultures of creative learning that we offer. I think everybody about know. Project-based, play-based, peer-based, and the patient-based. I will go through first project-based. I think everybody who know about these excellent books, The Whole New Mind, it's very excellent books. Psychologists, neurologists, it's Daniel. He says that we change the jobs from century to century. Now, in the 21st century, it's makers. Before, in the 20th century, knowledge workers, industry number 3. Factory workers, industrial revolution number 2, and this one revolution number 1, farmers. The most important thing, look at this. This is the young generations. It looks like a doctor, but he is musicians. It looks like a musician, but he has other jobs. So multiple talents people for the futures. Question is, how we equip our students with multi-talents of the skill. Children are active builders of knowledge, not passive recipients. Children don't get ideas, they make ideas. That's PJ saying. Everybody know about that. Children construct knowledge most effectively when they are actively involved in constructing things in the world. This is when they are the makers, the creators, the innovators. As Jason Seymour, I like this one. The most valuable learning experiences come when the student actively engage in designing, building, or creating something, when they are learning through making. Do we teach our children to be creators, to be makers, or just producing remember? This is an example. Habibie Centers in Depok that I visited last month with Pak Ilham Habibie before Professor Habibie passed away. And we discussed about this school. This school is project-based learning. Look at this, making robot. No classroom, they have project like this. Group of students, based on the patient, there's 5 reasons. One is a student find it fun, effective ways of introducing programming for students, provide skills useful for future employment, then demystify a complex technology. This kind of equipment made by a student itself is not buying from the store and then just assembly. No, it's creating the makers. Look at this. They won the world medals on the robotic contest in Washington, D.C. last year. And we will leave for Washington, D.C. in this month, late on this one. Patient. Patient is unique food. Brain every human being proposes. Learning to become. Sorry, I would back this one. Learning on a UNESCO, I changed. It's not learning to do, but learning to make. Right? Then, on the patience-based learning, primarily is learning to become. It's not learning to be, tapi learning to become. Maybe in the UNESCO will angry to me. Yes, that's fine. Patient, unique food. When learning meet the patient, it will ignite motivations. Learning management, self-directed learning. I need, Pak, you can capture what you call pilot project in Universitas Negeri Malang, 50-60, 50-50 or 40-60. This is structured learning, this is flexible. And every single student, what you call, draw or choose their menu. It's like a buffet. You pay something and then you eat the food that you like it. It's not the serve with the packets. This is, I don't like it, but this is the serve. So, flexible, self-directed learning, more menus, intracurricular, co-curricular, and extracurricular. Patience without creations is nothing. This is the school in the Habibie school. From the early kindergarten, they know exactly how to respect, they know exactly the patience will develop on every single student music, robot, and everything. This one, freedom of student, freedom of school, freedom of the teachers. There's the educations to make somebody got freedom of that. The peers, learning to collaborate, not learning to live together. UNESCO say learning to live together. I say learning to live together is passive. I stay here, you stay there. You live together, side by side, but no interactions. So I propose using learning to collaborate. There is no human being in the world can live alone. They have to interact each other. So education system have to equip our students with the skill how to collaborate with others. This is the education system that I know exactly today. It's like, what is toko bangunan? Office depot, or materials for the buildings. Dump truck coming, they put there, what you call, the sand. And next to the sand, they put stock of the bricks, and then cement, and then everything. But you're just putting like this. It's like a teachers. Chemistry teachers go to the classroom, teach chemistry. And next day, physics teachers come, teach physics. It's lastly fun. They stuck like, come high and high and high, but no connections. Not making a house. The learning 4.0, making a house. So, transdisciplinary, it's much, much important. Industry 4.0, making every single subject blur. There is no differentiations between mathematics for engineers and mathematics for economics. That's mathematics. So teachers, don't flock with your peers, the same physics and mathematics teachers. Engage with other teachers across subject, across level, meeting demand of the technological convergence. If technology convergent, science have to be convergent. Who says that iPhone making United States? No. 16 countries making this one, including Korea, Japan. If technology can converge, then educations also have to be convergent. This is the lessons. Everybody, I think, already know about the hole in the wall. I visited this hole in the wall in New Delhi, the slum dwellers in the center of New Delhi, very poor area. And the Professor Sugata Mitra, he put computers, old computers in the wall. He just put it. And then the next day, this is a lot of children from the poor area looks, what is the yellow one? They punch the button. They don't know exactly this is computers. No one teach it, but this came around it. But finally, one of this know exactly. Oh, this one to on, this is to navigate. Look at this. How many fingers punch the keyboard? Got headaches in the CPU. But then, this one fighting each other. Me first. No, me first. They fighting each other. No one teach them. Finally, after 3 months, they solve the problem. This one. No win-win every fight. Now you are first, and then you first, and then you. Then finally in this one. So learning the peers is very important. Children are very, very smart, smarter than us. 95% of their IQ is during 5-6 years old. So experiment shows that children in unsupervised group are capable of answering questions many years ahead of the material they are learning in school. In fact, they seem to enjoy absence of adult supervisions. One thing I would say is that the peer is very important. Peer-based learning. Play-based learning. Now, learning to learn. Play is the work of the child. We say. Now, I think our school spend the money to buy in this one, but not in this one. I believe that. Question is, which is the best to teach the innovations, creativity using this one using this one, or using this one? No one. The most important is not which technology students are using, but rather what students are learning with them. Don't ask the technology can do for the children, but ask what the children can do with the technology. I got a lot of questions from the parents. Pak Ananto, I have 6 years old children. How many hours she should play with computers, with the gadget? 1 hour? Half an hour? Next day, another parent, same questions. But this is a high school. How many hours they're supposed to be? I said, no hours. Even half an hour, if they open pornography, then damaging. 3 hours, but they open learning, it's more beneficial. So it's not the quantity of the time students spend with technology, but the quality of their spend with technology. I think you got point, right? Okay. This is the funny things. 1996, and your parents, this is 2016. The parents grab the children from playing field, soccer playing field. Study, don't play anymore. This is already dark. In the afternoon, you need to study for your homeworks tomorrow. They drag goods in the room. But today, why don't you spend a lot of times in your room? Day by day, time by time. Go out, play. So which one? So it's kind of contradictions, right? I asked my daughter the other day, hey, Asa, name is Asa. What is your definitions of the happiness? 2 things that to be happy. 1, full battery. 2, Wi-Fi. This is the simple definitions of the student. So, if there is the triangle of the human Maslow, this is the Wi-Fi and battery is on the bottom of this one. That's the joke. That's the joke. Right? Yeah. Now, this is the final of the presentations. How can technology plays the role? Learning outcome first, then choosing the technology. Technology has remarkable help for the education, simplifying administrative tasks, teachers, smart content, personalized learning, global learning, new facilities, a lot of things. And the company make huge money of dollars by selling the technology products. Question is it worthful for our children? You need to question on that. Now, my office, Rumah Belajar, we spend a lot of money creating the content of the Rumah Belajar. Now we develop the artificial intelligence to creating the Rumah Belajar. We can download it. 1 million subscribers. Now it's getting more and more and more and more. But we think it just download it and thinks, oh, we can create something with Rumah Belajar. UNBK. We are the largest country in the world who have a national examination based on the computers. On high school, almost 100%. Now, the national examination is done by the computers, from Papua to Aceh. A lot of things we have done. Again, it is the innovations behind this or not? Is technology replacing or become something new on that? 3 weeks ago, news, our minister, Pak Muhajir, in Natuna, he launched what we call a digital program for education for remote and outer areas in Indonesia. We send 1.7 million learning devices, tablets, to 3,600 schools around the country, especially in the remote area. But this is not enough. Just giving a student tablet is very dangerous if they can use it properly to be creative. So now we train the teachers to be adults. This is the story why the technology can engage student in the technological but not necessarily the learning. Makasih. Yeah. Sudah diperingatkan. Yeah. So technology is not the same with learning. Look at this. I hope you can download this study. Very, very nice research. Students, computers, and learnings. Look at this. On an OECD country. This is this time students engage with the computers. This is the score of the PISA. The higher the times students spend the time with the materials and the gadget, it's increased the PISA score. But then, to some extent, they are dropped. One. The second, this study is to differentiate students half using gadget and then half the student using printed books, the same material. Digital books and non-digital books. Surprisingly, on the examination, the students who use non-digital books perform better. So this one, students learn better from books than screen according to new study. What's wrong? Nothing wrong. Because the students do not have any talents how to use gadget properly. They study, but then they got headaches, they open something else. They're scrolling, distracting the mind. But using books is easy. Flip page 100 to page 1, just boom. But using the technology, just scrolling, distracting anything. Finally, because this is already informed by the men, there is no best way to teach with technology. Rather, effective technology integrations is dependent on the content-specific learning goals and pedagogical strategies used in conjunction with technology to meet those learning goals. So, we need to prepare teachers who know exactly what is the pedagogy to use the technology. Very important. Otherwise, you don't have anything, just spreading. Finally, I invite you, if you have time, next week, we're going to have the Indonesia Education Forum in the Habibie Centers. We will talk with the international expert about the technology of the educations. And one thing I would like to share in this one, the most important issue is not the quantity of time students spend on screen, but rather quality of learning they got from it. Thank you very much for your patience. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.